Have you ever seen something so incredible, so mind-bendingly massive, that it just completely rewrites what you thought was possible? Today, we're journeying to the heart of the ancient Inca Empire, to a place that continues to baffle engineers, archaeologists, and historians alike. High above the vibrant city of Cusco, Peru, lies a monumental complex of stone walls that seems to defy logic. This is Sacsayhuamán, the fortress of impossible stones. Now, when you first lay eyes on Sacsayhuamán, the scale is just breathtaking. We're talking about 3 colossal, zigzagging tiered walls that stretch for more than a third of a mile. But it's not just the size that's staggering, it's the stones themselves. Some of these individual blocks are estimated to weigh over 120 tons. To put that into perspective, that's like stacking 100 family cars on top of each other. And these aren't just rough, jagged rocks piled up. They are massive polygonal stones fitted together with such precision that you can't even slip a piece of paper between them. There's no mortar, no binding agent, just pure masterful stonework. The name Sacsayhuamán is often translated from Quechua as satisfied falcon or royal eagle. It sits at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, offering a commanding view of the entire Cusco Valley. From up here, you can understand why this was such a strategic location. The Spanish conquistadors, when they arrived in the 1530s, described it as a fortress, and a formidable one at that. They were in awe, even believing it must have been built by demons rather than men because they just couldn't comprehend how it was constructed. And honestly, standing here today, you can kind of see their point. The mainstream archaeological view is that Sacsayhuamán was built by the Inca, starting around the 5th-10th century under the reign of the great emperor Pachacati. It's said that it took over 20,000 men and about 70 years to complete. The official story is that it was primarily a military fortress, but also served as a ceremonial center and a storage facility for food, weapons, and textiles. The zigzag design of the walls wasn't just for looks. It was a clever defensive strategy. It created angles that would expose attackers to crossfire from multiple directions, making a direct assault nearly impossible. During the Spanish conquest, this very fortress became the site of a fierce and bloody battle where the Inca made their last major stand for Cusco. But here's where things get really interesting and the mystery deepens. The construction techniques used here are unlike anything else. How did the Inca, a civilization without the wheel for transport, without iron tools, and without a known system of writing to pass down complex engineering plans, manage to quarry, transport, and perfectly shape these colossal stones? The nearest quarry for some of these massive andesite blocks is over 20 miles away, across mountains and rivers. Can you imagine the sheer manpower and ingenuity required to move a 100-ton block over that kind of terrain? Let's talk about the quarrying first. Traditional theories suggest they used a method of heating the rock with fire and then rapidly cooling it with water to create cracks. Then they would have used harder stones and bronze tools to slowly chip away and shape the blocks. But when you look at the precision cuts, the smooth surfaces, and the complex, interlocking angles, it just seems almost impossible with such basic technology. Some of the stones have dozens of corners, each fitting perfectly against its neighbor like a giant 3D jigsaw puzzle. And then there's the transportation. How do you move something that weighs as much as a blue whale? The leading theory is that they used immense manpower, thousands of men pulling with thick ropes made from llama or alpaca wool, possibly using log rollers and earthen ramps. We have some accounts from Spanish chroniclers describing this process. But even with these accounts, the logistics are mind-boggling. Building ramps sturdy enough to support these weights, and coordinating the efforts of thousands of people to pull in unison, would have been an organizational feat of epic proportions. This incredible feat of engineering has led to a host of alternative theories. Some people believe the Inca had a lost, advanced technology. One popular idea is that they had mastered a technique to soften the stone, perhaps using a special acidic plant extract. According to legend, a bird called the pito carried a plant that could dissolve rock. Could the Inca have learned this secret, allowing them to essentially mold the stones into place before they hardened again? It sounds like science fiction, but when faced with the evidence here, you start to wonder. Another more out there theory points to extraterrestrial help. Now, before you dismiss it, remember that many ancient cultures around the world have myths of sky gods who brought knowledge. When conventional explanations seem to fall short, it's human nature to look for other possibilities. While there's no concrete evidence for this, the sheer impossibility of Sacsayhuamán keeps these ideas alive. Let's zoom in on a specific part of the complex. Look at this one stone right here. It's known as one of the largest. The precision is just flawless. How do you plan for a stone with 12 different angles to fit perfectly with the stones around, above, and below it? It's not like they could just shave a little off if they made a mistake. Each piece had to be perfect before it was put into place. This suggests an incredibly advanced understanding of geometry and 3D modeling, all done without computers or even written plans. Beyond the main walls, the site of Sacsayhuamán is much larger than most people realize. It covers a huge area with other fascinating features. There are mysterious rock slides called rotaderos that are polished smooth. Kids and tourists love sliding down them today, but were they natural formations or were they shaped by the Inca for some purpose? There's also the Throne of the Inca, a series of steps carved directly into a large rock outcropping, perfectly aligned with the surrounding landscape. And then there's what lies beneath. Recent studies using ground-penetrating radar have revealed a vast network of tunnels, or chincanas, under Sacsayhuamán, connecting it to other key sites in Cusco, maybe even the famous Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun. Most of these tunnels are now blocked off or have collapsed, adding another layer of mystery. What were they for? Escape routes? A way to transport treasures? The legends say these tunnels hide unimaginable Inca gold, hidden from the Spanish. What is truly humbling about Sacsayhuamán is that what we see today is only about 20% of the original structure. After the conquest, the Spanish dismantled much of the fortress, using its stones to build their own churches and colonial houses down in Cusco. It became a convenient, pre-cut quarry. So the awe-inspiring structure we see now is just a fraction of its former glory. Imagine how magnificent it must have been in its heyday. So, was Sacsayhuamán a fortress, a temple, a testament to an unknown technology, or all of the above? The truth is, we may never know for sure. It stands as a silent, powerful testament to the ingenuity and strength of the Inca people. It challenges our assumptions about the past and reminds us that there are still so many secrets buried in history, waiting to be understood. It forces us to ask the big questions. Are we underestimating the capabilities of ancient civilizations? Did they possess knowledge that we have since lost? Or was it simply the result of brilliant engineering, incredible organization, and the sheer will of thousands of people working together towards a common goal? Whatever the answer, Sacsayhuamán remains one of the most enigmatic and impressive ancient sites on the planet. It's a place that fires up the imagination and fills you with a sense of wonder. If you ever get the chance to visit Cusco, make sure you come up here, stand before these impossible walls, and feel the history and the mystery for yourself. It's an experience you will never forget. Have you ever looked at something so massive, so perfectly constructed, that it just completely blows your mind? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most staggering engineering marvels of the ancient world, the fortress of Sacsayhuamán in Peru. This isn't just a pile of old rocks. It's a testament to human ingenuity that continues to baffle scientists and historians to this day. High above the city of Cusco, the former capital of the Inca Empire, lie these incredible zigzagging walls. And when I say incredible, I mean it. The stones here are colossal. Some of them are estimated to weigh over 100 tons. That's the equivalent of about 60 cars, all carved into a single block of stone. And here's the kicker. The Inca built this masterpiece without wheels, without iron tools, and without a written language to pass down complex engineering blueprints. So the billion-dollar question is, how on earth did they do it? Let's first get a sense of the scale. Sacsayhuamán is a terraced fortress with 3 massive parallel walls built from enormous blocks of limestone and andesite. These aren't just rough-hewn boulders stacked on top of each other. The stones are so precisely cut and fitted together that you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. This technique, known as ashlar masonry, is a hallmark of Inca architecture, but at Sacsayhuamán, it's taken to an almost superhuman level. The stones lock together like a giant, 3-dimensional puzzle, creating structures that have withstood centuries of earthquakes in a seismically active region. When the Spanish conquistadors first saw Sacsayhuamán in the 16th century, they were utterly dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that mere mortals could have built such a structure. They even wrote that it must have been the work of demons or giants because the scale was just beyond their comprehension. In a way, you can't blame them. They had iron, they had wheels, and they still couldn't imagine how this was possible. So let's explore the theories. The first major hurdle is quarrying these gigantic stones. The quarries were located several kilometers away, some as far as 20 kilometers over mountainous terrain. How did they cut these 100-ton blocks from the bedrock? Archaeologists believe the Inca used a clever method of natural fracturing. They would find existing cracks in the rock, insert wooden wedges into them, and then pour water on the wedges. As the wood absorbed the water and expanded, it would exert immense pressure, eventually splitting the stone along the desired line. They also used harder river cobbles and bronze tools to slowly chip away and shape the blocks. It was a painstaking process, requiring immense patience and an incredible understanding of geology. Okay, so they've cut the block. Now what? How do you move a 100-ton rock across miles of uneven ground up and down hills? Remember, no wheels, no draft animals like oxen or horses. The Inca only had llamas, which can carry maybe 100 pounds at most. Not exactly helpful for moving a block the size of a small house. The most widely accepted theory is that the Inca used a massive labor force and a combination of ropes, logs, and ramps. We're talking about thousands of men pulling in unison. Chronicles from the Spanish era describe huge teams of workers hauling these stones. One account mentions a stone that crushed thousands of men when a rope snapped. While this might be an exaggeration, it paints a picture of a truly monumental effort. Imagine the scene, hundreds, maybe thousands of people, chanting and pulling on thick ropes made from grass or llama wool, slowly dragging a colossal stone over a path of smooth logs or wet clay to reduce friction. They would have built massive earthen ramps to raise the stones to the required height. It's a brute force method, but it's effective. It showcases the incredible organizational power of the Inca state, which could command and coordinate such a massive workforce for decades. This wasn't a quick project. It's believed to have taken about 70 years and the labor of 20,000 men. But even with this explanation, some mysteries remain. How did they achieve such a perfect fit between the stones? One theory suggests they used a scribing and coping method. They would place a new stone on top of the one below it, and then trace the irregular shape of the bottom stone onto the upper one. Then, they would painstakingly chip away at the upper stone until it matched the traced line perfectly, creating a seamless joint. Think of it like a human-powered 3D printer, but in reverse. They might have also used a method of dropping the stone repeatedly onto the one below it, with sand in between to grind it down until it fit perfectly. Another fascinating detail is the shape of the stones. They aren't simple cubes. They have multiple faces, sometimes 12 or more, all interlocking with the surrounding blocks. This polygonal masonry is what makes the walls so resistant to earthquakes. During a tremor, the stones can move slightly and then settle back into place, a bit like a self-healing wall. It's an incredibly sophisticated seismic-resistant design. Of course, when you have a mystery this big, you're going to get some more out-there theories. Some people, pointing to the sheer precision and scale, suggest the Inca had help. Maybe not from demons as the Spanish thought, but from a lost, advanced technology. Some theories propose they knew a way to soften stone, perhaps using a mysterious plant extract that could turn rock into a clay-like substance that could be molded and then re-hardened. There are local legends about a plant or a bird that possess this ability, but no scientific evidence has ever been found to support it. And then, inevitably, you have the ancient astronaut theorists. They argue that the only logical explanation for Sacsayhuamán is extraterrestrial intervention. They point to the precision cuts and the massive weight of the stones as evidence of technology far beyond human capabilities at the time, like laser cutters or anti-gravity devices. While it's a fun thought experiment, it really sells the Inca people short. It dismisses their incredible ingenuity, their deep knowledge of their environment, and their remarkable social organization. The evidence we do have: the abandoned quarries with half-finished stones, the tool marks, the historical accounts all point to human effort, albeit on an almost unbelievable scale. The truth is likely a combination of the more grounded theories. The Inca were master stonemasons, brilliant engineers, and unparalleled organizers. They used a massive, dedicated workforce, clever quarrying techniques, and painstakingly precise fitting methods. They developed their skills over generations, culminating in the awe-inspiring structure of Sacsayhuamán. It wasn't built by giants or aliens. It was built by people who had a profound connection to their land and an incredible vision. Today, only about 20% of the original structure remains. After the conquest, the Spanish dismantled much of Sacsayhuamán, using its stones to build their new colonial city in Cusco. What we see now is just the foundation. the skeleton of a much grander complex that likely included temples, towers, and storehouses. It's a bittersweet thought. We can marvel at what's left, but we can only imagine its original splendor. Sacsayhuamán is more than just an archaeological site. It's a puzzle written in stone. It challenges our assumptions about what primitive people were capable of and forces us to reconsider the limits of human achievement. It stands as a silent, powerful reminder that with enough willpower, organization, and sheer grit, humans can achieve the seemingly impossible. The next time someone tells you something can't be done, just think of the Inca, thousands of men, on a mountainside in Peru, moving a 100-ton block of stone without a single wheel. What do you think is the most plausible explanation? Brute force and ingenuity, lost technology, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. High in the Andes Mountains, overlooking the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, lies a fortress that defies explanation. This isn't just another old ruin. It's a megalithic marvel that makes you question everything you thought you knew about ancient technology. Welcome to Sacsayhuamán. At first glance, it's breathtaking. Massive walls zigzag across the landscape, built from stones so enormous it's hard to wrap your head around them. Some of these monoliths weigh over 120 tons. That's the equivalent of about 100 cars stacked on top of each other. How on earth did the Inca, a civilization without the wheel, without iron tools, and without a written language, quarry, transport, and lift these colossal stones? The mainstream explanation is that tens of thousands of laborers dragged these stones from quarries miles away using nothing but ropes, ramps, and sheer manpower. It's an incredible feat of human effort, a testament to the organizational power of the Inca Empire. But when you get closer, a deeper mystery reveals itself, one that brute force alone can't solve. Let's look at the joinery. These aren't simple, rectangular blocks stacked like allegios. The stones of Sacsayhuamán are polygonal, meaning they have many sides, often more than a dozen. Each stone is unique, fitting into its neighbors with a level of precision that is, frankly, mind-boggling. There are no gaps between them. You can't even slide a piece of paper into the joints. They fit together like a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle, but on a superhuman scale. And it's not just the fit, it's the shape. The stones have complex, interlocking angles. Some have smooth, curved surfaces that flow seamlessly into the next block. Others have sharp internal corners that seem impossible to carve with primitive tools. Try carving an inside corner into a piece of hard andesite or granite with a stone hammer. It's incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to get it perfectly sharp, yet, here at Sacsayhuamán, we see it over and over again. This precision is what truly sets Sacsayhuamán apart. How did they achieve this? The traditional theory suggests a painstaking process of scribing and pounding. They would place a new stone on top of the one below, trace the outline of the lower stone onto it, and then meticulously chip away at it until it fit. They'd repeat this process again and again, grinding the stones together until they fit perfectly. While possible, this method seems incredibly inefficient for a project of this scale. Imagine the time and effort required to grind down a 100-ton block of granite, one of the hardest rocks on Earth, to achieve a perfect, airtight seal. And to do it for thousands of stones. It's a monumental undertaking that challenges our understanding of their capabilities. This is where things get really interesting and a little controversial. Some researchers and engineers have looked at these stones and suggested that traditional methods just don't add up. They point to features that seem to hint at a far more advanced technology. For example, look at the surfaces of some stones. They are incredibly smooth, almost as if they were polished. But more than that, some blocks appear to show signs of vitrification, as if the rock surface was heated to a high temperature, causing it to melt and then re-harden into a glassy layer. Could the Inca have possessed some form of high-heat technology? A way to soften the stone, mold it into place, and then let it harden? This idea sounds like science fiction, but legends from the local Quechua people might offer a clue. They speak of ancient times when the gods, or beings from the sky, possessed a liquid derived from a plant that could turn stone soft like clay. Another legend mentions a magic bird whose substance could dissolve rock. While these are myths, it is fascinating how they seem to describe a process that would explain the seemingly molded appearance of some of the stonework. Let's examine the cuts themselves. Many of the cuts are perfectly straight with sharp, defined edges. If you were pounding away with a stone hammer, you'd expect to see concussion marks, little chips, and imperfections. But many of these surfaces are clean. Some researchers have even brought modern tools here and found that recreating these cuts is extremely difficult, even with today's technology. Take a look at these mysterious nubs, or protrusions, found on many of the blocks. What were they for? The common theory is that they were handles for lifting and maneuvering the stones, which were then supposed to be knocked off later. But if that's the case, why are so many still there? And why are they often located in places that wouldn't be very useful for leverage? Some have suggested they were part of the molding process, perhaps serving as pouring or venting points. Others believe they had a vibrational or energetic purpose, something we don't yet understand. The mystery deepens when you realize Sacsayhuamán might be much older than the Inca. While the Inca certainly used and expanded the site, some geologists and archaeologists believe the core megalithic structures predate them by thousands of years. They point to the weathering patterns on the stones and the fact that later Inca construction, which is impressive in its own right, is often built on top of or around these massive older walls, and it uses a much simpler, less precise technique with smaller stones and mortar. It's as if the Inca found this incredible, ancient structure and built their own fortress around it, inheriting a technology they couldn't fully replicate. So, who could have built the original Sacsayhuamán? We simply don't know. It's a puzzle that has led to all sorts of theories, from a lost, highly advanced ancient civilization to extraterrestrial intervention. While it's easy to jump to exotic conclusions, we have to stay grounded. What we do know is that the people who built this were masters of stonework, logistics, and engineering on a scale that is almost beyond our comprehension. They had a profound understanding of geometry and geology. They worked with the landscape, not against it, creating a structure that has withstood centuries of earthquakes in a highly seismic zone. While modern buildings in Cusco have crumbled, Sacsayhuamán stands strong, its interlocking stones dissipating the energy of the quakes. Perhaps we don't give our ancestors enough credit. Maybe they did achieve this with simple tools, combined with an immense amount of time, patience, and a level of skill that has been lost to history. Or maybe, just maybe, they had access to a technique or technology that we are yet to rediscover. The beauty of Sacsayhuamán is that it forces us to ask these questions. It challenges our assumptions and pushes the boundaries of what we believe was possible in the ancient world. It's not just a pile of rocks. It's a message encoded in stone, a silent testament to a forgotten age of genius. What do you think? Was it sheer manpower and ingenuity, or is there a lost technology waiting to be understood? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Visiting a place like this really changes your perspective on history. It reminds us that there are still great mysteries left in the world, waiting to be solved. Gazing upon the monumental stone walls of Sacsayhuamán, perched high above the ancient city of Cusco, one question immediately springs to mind. What was this place? Was it an impregnable fortress, a sacred temple to the gods, or something far more complex? The most popular theory, and one that seems obvious at first glance, is that Sacsayhuamán was a fortress. And what a fortress it would have been! Its name in Quechua is often translated as Royal Eagle or Satisfied Falcon, a fitting title for a structure that watches over the valley below like a bird of prey. Its strategic location provides a commanding view of Cusco, the heart of the Inca Empire. Anyone approaching the capital would have been spotted from these heights long before they posed a threat. The most compelling evidence for the fortress theory lies in its very design. Look at these incredible zigzag walls arranged in 3 massive tiers. This wasn't just for show. This brilliant design created a series of salients and re-entrants, meaning that any attacker trying to scale the walls would be exposed to crossfire from at least 3 different directions. The entrances are narrow, easily defended, and designed to funnel attackers into kill zones. Historical accounts from the Spanish conquest, particularly the Siege of Cusco in 1536, describe fierce battles fought right here. The Inca, led by Manco Inca Yupanqui, used Sacsayhuamán as a stronghold in their rebellion against the conquistadors. The sheer scale and defensive ingenuity make a powerful case for its military purpose. It was a declaration of power, a bastion designed to protect the imperial capital at all costs. But to label Sacsayhuamán as just a fortress would be to ignore a huge part of its story. Many archaeologists and historians believe its primary function was religious and ceremonial. The Inca Empire was a theocracy where politics, military, and religion were deeply intertwined. For them, a powerful fortress could also be a sacred space. The entire city of Cusco was designed in the shape of a puma, a sacred animal, and Sacsayhuamán formed its head. This symbolic layout suggests a profound spiritual significance. The complex was a major center for the worship of Inti, the sun god, the most important deity in the Inca pantheon. The very architecture seems to be in conversation with the cosmos. Certain windows, walls, and towers are believed to align perfectly with the sunrise and sunset during the solstices and equinoxes. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a physical manifestation of their spiritual beliefs. A giant stone calendar tracking the movements of the heavens. Imagine the Inca emperor and high priests here, observing the celestial bodies and conducting rituals to ensure the prosperity and stability of the empire. This place was the stage for some of the most important ceremonies in the Inca world. Perhaps the most famous of these is the Inti Raymi, the festival of the sun. Every year, on the winter solstice, this grand celebration was held to honor the sun god and mark the start of the new planting season. While the festival originated in ancient times, a modern reenactment takes place here at Sacsayhuamán every June, drawing thousands of visitors from around the globe. Actors portraying the Sapa Inca, his queen, and a vast procession of soldiers, priests, and nobles fill the esplanade. They make offerings, perform traditional dances, and reenact ancient rituals. It's a vibrant, colorful spectacle that gives us a breathtaking glimpse into the spiritual heart of the Inca Empire and the central role Sacsayhuamán played in its ceremonial life. Standing here during Inti Raymi, you can almost feel the echoes of the past, confirming this site as a place of immense spiritual power. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the giant stones. Regardless of its purpose, the engineering of Sacsayhuamán is an absolute enigma that continues to baffle experts. We're not talking about small bricks here. We're talking about megalithic blocks of limestone and andesite. Some of the largest stones are estimated to weigh over 125 tons. That's more than a Boeing. 757, and they were quarried from sites several kilometers away through mountainous terrain. How did a civilization without the wheel, without iron tools, and without a system of writing manage to transport and lift these colossal stones? The prevailing theory is that it required an immense, highly organized labor force. Thousands of men would have worked together, using ropes made of llama and alpaca wool, log rollers, and earthen ramps. It would have been a slow, arduous process, a testament to the Incas' incredible ability to mobilize and manage their population for monumental projects. But even with that explanation, so many questions remain. And it gets even more mind-boggling when you look closer. Take a look at the joinery. These massive, irregularly shaped stones fit together with such precision that you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. There's no mortar holding them together. Each stone was meticulously carved to interlock perfectly with its neighbors. This technique, known as polygonal masonry, not only creates an incredible aesthetic, but also makes the walls extraordinarily resistant to earthquakes, which are common in this region. During a tremor, the stones can dance and then settle back into place. How did they achieve such a perfect fit? One theory suggests a scribe and cope method, where a new stone was painstakingly ground against the existing ones until it fit perfectly. Others propose more esoteric ideas, like the use of a plant extract that could soften the rock, though there is no scientific evidence for this. The sheer skill and patience required are almost beyond our modern comprehension. It's a puzzle carved in stone, so what is the final verdict? Was Sacsayhuamán a fortress or a temple? The truth is, it was both, and so much more. Trying to fit it into a single category is a very Western way of thinking. For the Inca, there was no separation between the military, the religious, and the administrative. Sacsayhuamán was a multifunctional complex, a true masterpiece of integrated design. It was the head of the Puma, the House of the Sun, the fortress guarding the capital, and a stunning display of imperial power and engineering genius. It was a place where celestial events were celebrated, where battles were fought, and where the very foundations of the Inca cosmos were set in stone. Even after centuries of study, Sacsayhuamán holds its secrets close. The Spanish dismantled much of the site, taking its stones to build their own churches and houses in Cusco. What we see today is only about 20% of the original complex. We may never know the full story of how it was built or all the purposes it served. And perhaps that's part of its enduring magic. It remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, a silent, stony testament to the incredible achievements of a lost empire, forever challenging us to wonder and to explore. Have you ever seen something so monumental, so perfectly crafted, that it completely rewrites what you thought was possible? Welcome to Sacsayhuamán, a colossal stone fortress overlooking the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, Peru. At first glance, its massive zigzagging walls are breathtaking. But the longer you look, the more a profound mystery begins to unfold. These walls are not just big. They are a puzzle that modern science and engineering still struggle to solve. How did a civilization without the wheel, without iron tools, and without a written language construct this wonder of the ancient world? Today, we're diving deep into the enigma of Sacsayhuamán, exploring a feat of engineering that seems to defy the very laws of history. Let's talk about the sheer scale of this place. We're not dealing with small bricks or manageable stones. The walls of Sacsayhuamán are built from some of the largest blocks ever used in any ancient structure. Some of these andesite monoliths weigh over 100 tons. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of about 50 large cars stacked on top of each other. And we're not just talking about one or two of these giants. There are hundreds of them, forming 3 parallel walls that stretch for more than a third of a mile. Just imagine the raw power needed to move a single one of these stones, let alone assemble them into this intricate, towering structure. Now look closer at how these stones fit together. This is where the mystery truly deepens. There's no mortar, no cement, nothing holding them in place except for their own weight and unbelievable precision. The joints are so perfect that you can even slip a single piece of paper between them. And these aren't simple, rectangular blocks. They are complex, multi-angled polygons that interlock like a 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. Each stone was uniquely shaped to fit perfectly with its neighbors, creating a structure so stable that it has withstood centuries of earthquakes in a seismically active region. Modern stonemasons, even with laser cutting and advanced machinery, would find it incredibly difficult to replicate this level of precision on such a massive scale. How did the Inca achieve this flawless finish with only primitive tools? This brings us to the biggest unanswered questions. First, the quarry. The andesite stone used for the largest blocks was sourced from a quarry more than 20 miles away, across mountains and rivers. How did they transport these multi-ton behemoths across such challenging terrain? Mainstream archaeology suggests they used immense manpower, pulling the stones with ropes made from natural fibers over log rollers. But when you do the math, the sheer number of people required, the friction, and the logistical nightmare of coordinating such an effort make this theory seem almost impossible. There's also no evidence of widespread deforestation that would have been necessary to provide enough log rollers. The Incas had no large draft animals like oxen or horses. It was all human power, or was it? Then there's the question of shaping the stones. The official story is that they used harder river stones to painstakingly pound and grind the andesite into shape. While this is certainly possible for smaller stones, imagine the time and effort required to shape a 100-ton block with perfect, multifaceted angles. Some researchers have suggested the process would have taken generations for just a single wall. Yet, historical records indicate that Sacsayhuamán was built relatively quickly, within a span of about 70 to 90 years during the height of the Inca Empire. The timeline just doesn't seem to add up with the proposed methods. And how did they lift these colossal blocks into place, sometimes dozens of feet in the air, fitting them with millimeter accuracy? The ramps that would have been required would need to be architectural marvels in their own right. And again, there's little archaeological evidence to support their existence on the necessary scale. The conventional theories, while based on the available evidence, simply feel inadequate when you're standing in the shadow of these walls. They don't fully capture the genius and the seeming impossibility of the achievement. This has led to more unconventional ideas. Some speculate the Incas had a lost technology, perhaps a way to soften the stone, making it pliable like clay before it hardened into its final form. Legends from the region speak of a liquid derived from plants that could dissolve rock. While this sounds like science fiction, it's an idea born from the sheer desperation to explain what we see. Others point to acoustic levitation or other forgotten knowledge of physics. While we have no proof for these theories, they highlight just how profoundly Sacsayhuamán challenges our understanding of the Incas' capabilities. But was Sacsayhuamán just a fortress? Its strategic location, overlooking the entire city of Cusco, certainly gave it a powerful military advantage. The zigzagging walls weren't just for show. They were a brilliant defensive design. They created choke points and allowed defenders to fire on attackers from multiple angles, eliminating any blind spots. It was an impregnable stronghold, the head of the puma, as the city of Cusco was laid out in the shape of this sacred animal. The Spanish conquistadors who arrived in the 1530s were utterly astounded by it, with one chronicler writing that it seemed to be the work of demons rather than men. They fought a major battle here, and even with their cannons, taking the fortress was an immense struggle. However, its purpose likely went far beyond the military. Sacsayhuamán was also a major religious and ceremonial center. The name itself is believed to mean royal eagle, or speckled falcon in Quechua. The entire complex is aligned with remarkable astronomical precision. Certain windows and structures align perfectly with the sun during the solstices and equinoxes. The main plaza within the walls was likely used for large gatherings and rituals, connecting the Inca people with their gods and the cosmos. The three-tiered walls themselves might represent the three levels of Inca cosmology: the underworld, the middle world, and the heavens. This dual purpose as both a fortress and a temple shows a sophisticated integration of military, spiritual, and scientific knowledge. The builders weren't just moving rocks. They were encoding their entire worldview into the landscape, creating a structure that was both a shield for the capital and a gateway to the stars. After the Spanish conquest, Sacsayhuamán suffered a tragic fate. It was used as a quarry to build the new Spanish city of Cusco. For centuries, its stones were systematically removed to build churches, government buildings, and homes. What we see today, as impressive as it is estimated to be only about 20% of the original structure. The smaller stones are almost all gone, leaving only the gigantic monoliths that were too large for the Spanish to move. Can you imagine what the complete complex must have looked like? It would have been a structure of unimaginable grandeur, a true testament to the power and ingenuity of the Inca Empire. The destruction of Sacsayhuamán represents not just the loss of a magnificent building, but the near-total erasure of the knowledge used to create it. So we are left with this enduring puzzle. Sacsayhuamán stands as a silent, powerful monument to a lost chapter of human history. It forces us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient civilizations and to question the linear narrative of technological progress. Were the Incas simply masters of logistics and manual labor on a scale we can no longer comprehend? Or did they possess a form of knowledge, a forgotten science that allowed them to manipulate stone in ways we can only dream of? The answers are likely buried with the empire itself, lost to time and conquest. But the stones remain. They challenge our assumptions, inspire our awe, and keep the mystery alive for future generations to ponder. Sacsayhuamán is more than a ruin. It is a question carved in stone, a testament to the fact that our ancestors may have been far more advanced than we give them credit for. What do you think is the secret behind its construction? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more incredible ancient sites, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Until next time, keep questioning.